Welcome back to the Peach Teach English podcast. I'm Frankie Mesmer, your host, and today we're going to look at St. Patrick's Day. We're going to learn who was St. Patrick, the history of St. Patrick's Day, how it came to the U.S., and how do we celebrate it in Savannah, Georgia, my hometown. And I'm so excited to talk about this topic with you today because I'm going to Savannah, Georgia very soon to celebrate St. Patrick's Day with my friends and family, and I'd really like to share some more information with you about this fun holiday. So if you don't know anything about St. Patrick's Day, let me give you a little overview. So on March 17th in the United States, we celebrate a holiday called St. Patrick's Day. And this celebration has roots from Ireland. So today we're going to look at who was St. Patrick and how did this holiday arrive to the United States. So let's go ahead and get started with that first part. So who was St. Patrick? Believe it or not, guys, Patrick was not his real name. His real name was Maewyn Succat. And St. Patrick was also not born in Ireland. He was not an Irishman. He was born in Britain around 385 AD. And he was born of very religious parents. So his father was a deacon of the Christian church, and his grandfather was a priest. Now, despite being born in a very Christian family, St. Patrick was not a very religious young boy. And unfortunately, he was kidnapped by Irish raiders when he was 16 years old, where he worked as a shepherd in Ireland for 6 years. Since Patrick became a slave and was very far from his friends and family in Britain, he decided to hold even tighter to his faith. And this is where he really started to develop a stronger relationship with God and Christianity. Since he was spending so much time alone, he was often talking to God. And he believed that God had sent him dreams and messages. He mentioned in some of his writings that in these dreams and messages, God had called him to escape and go back home to Britain. So St. Patrick listened to this calling, and he decided to walk the coast for 200 miles. And fortunately, he found someone who was willing to take him back home by ship to Britain, where he was reunited with his family. While back in Britain, St. Patrick felt the calling from God to become a priest and later a bishop. And he dedicated his life to spreading Christianity and converting the pagans in the British Isles. After spending many years in Britain, St. Patrick received another vision from God, and he felt the calling that he needed to return to Ireland, despite being one of their slaves in the past. And so St. Patrick went through some training to prepare for his mission and set off to be a missionary in Ireland. So St. Patrick arrived in Ireland in 432 AD to start his missionary work. And he was strategic in trying to convert the Irish people. He used a lot of their own cultural rituals to try to explain the concepts of Christianity. For example, the shamrock, or three-leaf clover, which we use as a symbol of St. Patrick's Day today. He used this shamrock to explain to the Irish people the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, the Holy Trinity concept. So let's look at some of the things that St. Patrick did during his mission. So he baptized thousands of people throughout the Irish kingdoms. He helped build monasteries, schools, and churches, and he became a big symbol of Irish Christianity. And there's also a famous legend, which is probably not true, but it says that St. Patrick sent out all of the snakes from Ireland. Now, there probably weren't a lot of snakes in Ireland to begin with, but this is a symbol to show that with the arrival of St. Patrick, the dominance of Christianity took over, eradicating paganism. So, St. Patrick died on March 17th, which is St. Patrick's Day today, in 461 AD. St. Patrick holds a big legacy in Ireland today and is credited for converting Ireland to Christianity. And March 17th, the day that he died, has become St. Patrick's Day, and it is a symbol of Irish pride. So now that we know who St. Patrick was, let's look at the origins of St. Patrick's Day. As we established, we celebrated on March 17th because that was the day that St. Patrick died. But before it became this big festival with parades and parties, it was actually a feast day. This feast day was first celebrated around the 9th century, probably in the 800s. This feast became a time for them to focus on religious reflection and prayer, and they often attended church services. In the 17th century, St. Patrick's Day became a formalized part of the Catholic calendar, and the Pope declared St. Patrick's Day as a feast day for all Catholic Christians. And this caused St. Patrick's Day to spread worldwide, especially for Irish people to gather together and honor their heritage and patron saint, St. Patrick. So now let's look at how St. Patrick's Day made it to the United States. So Irish immigrants started moving to the United States in the 1600s. And as they came to the U.S., escaping poverty and famine, they also brought their traditions with them, celebrating St. Patrick's Day, especially in big cities with large Irish populations like New York and Boston. So the first recorded St. Patrick's Day parade was in New York City in 1762, and it was put together by Irish soldiers serving in the British Army, and it was a chance for them to celebrate their Irish heritage and pride. So after the potato famine in the 1800s, a lot more Irish immigrants started moving to the United States. And St. Patrick's Day evolved into something more than just a religious holiday, but it became a big festival in cities like Boston, Chicago, and Savannah. And now that brings us to Savannah, Georgia, my hometown, and the importance of St. Patrick's Day in my city. Savannah, Georgia has one of the oldest and most significant Irish immigration in the United States, starting in the 1730s. So the first St. Patrick's Day parade in Savannah was in 1824, put on by the Hibernian Society of Savannah, which was started by Irish immigrants to help their fellow countrymen that were moving into the area. It started out with a speech and a parade and turned into an annual event. In the 19th century, as the famine took place, more and more Irish immigrants moved into the Savannah area. And so did the tradition of St. Patrick's Day grow. And now Savannah has one of the biggest St. Patrick Day celebrations in the United States. So how does Savannah celebrate St. Patrick's Day? Well, it all starts with the St. Patrick's Day parade pretty early in the morning. This parade can last 3 to 4 hours and is filled with marching bands, bagpipe groups, and military groups. You can form your own opinion about this tradition, but it's common that the women will put on a bright red lipstick and they will run to handsome men that they see in the parade and leave them a red kiss on the cheek. In some U.S. cities, they will make the local river green, which they've done to the Savannah River before, but the city has decided not to continue that tradition. But one thing we do is the greening of the fountains. So a lot of the major fountains in the city will be green. The water will be green. Another tradition is we will enjoy Irish food and drinks. So you can go to restaurants and eat corned beef and cabbage, or drink Guinness, Irish whiskey, or even a green beer. During the parade, you can also find some traditional Irish dancers. After the parade, it's common for people to enjoy Savannah's pub culture. So Savannah is one of the few cities in the United States where you can drink alcohol in the street. So people bar hop from bar to bar, getting different drinks, and also enjoying all the live music that you can find in the streets and all the other festivities that are happening in the city. And one more very important tradition. Everyone wears green. And that's it, guys. Now you know who St. Patrick was, how St. Patrick's Day came about, and how it arrived in the United States, and how we continue to celebrate it today. I really enjoyed doing this research and sharing this cultural information with you. Thank you so much for listening to this episode, and see you next time.